something so evil that it's almost unspeakable, incomprehensible that a mother could kill her own 1-year-old baby. So we have to think about the state of mind that this woman was in at that time.
And here's the thing, ladies and gentlemen, about the burden of proof and circumstantial evidence. When there's a tie in the evidence like that, the tie goes to the defendant every single time.
Both sides offering their closing arguments to jurors before they deliberated for about 2 hours today. Now I'm joined again by Jonah Pine to offer us some legal analysis as this trial begins to wrap up here. Now, Jonah, it's clear emotions are a big part of this case, the prosecution playing into that, the defense asking jurors to set that aside. What kind of impact do you think that has?
How do you set your emotions aside in a case like this? It's an emotional situation. A child almost 2 years old, dead and found in the most gruesome of ways. You can tell yourself you're setting aside your emotions, but how does that even happen? How's it even possible? It's like asking people to admit to prejudices that they have and expecting that they're going to raise their hand and say, yeah, I've got prejudice. They're going to do their best. They're going to try, but it's an emotional case. Almost impossible to separate emotion from fact.
I gotcha. And now with deliberations underway, you know, both sides are officially done making their arguments. So what do you think of the case that either side made here?
It's been the case that we have been expecting all along. It's the case that they have stuck to all throughout, and it's the case that they tidied up during their closing arguments. The state has a defendant that is unlikable for many, many reasons, whose deceptions and lies and histrionics do not play well with a jury. If they don't play into those issues, they're not doing their job. And the defense has the simple fact that there is no evidence of the cause of death. And they have to stick to that, and they have to stick that issue time and time again. And I think that they've done a good job doing so. In the end, the defense has got to get the jury to stop thinking in an emotional way and recognize there are other possibilities. And that possibility could entail Danny as being a player in this, and it can factor into the equation a tragic accident that was covered up out of a fear of losing access to all of the children. And I don't know how the prosecution can eliminate that option.
Now, jurors pick back up tomorrow with deliberations. What kind of obstacles do you think are ahead for them?
For a defense attorney, there is nothing more terrifying than finding out what jurors are discussing after the case goes to them. We spend our time trying to render the law down to the basic essential elements to say this is what they have to prove, this is what is relevant. And then you debrief with the jury after they've rendered a verdict. And you say, well, what were y'all talking about back there? And they start telling you the things that they got bogged down with and the things that they were discussing. And you say, what in the heck have you folks been listening to? That had nothing to do with this case. What winds up being relevant to a lawyer is often not what is always relevant to the public. I know for a fact that Mr. Hilliard in this case has been receiving tips from lay people saying, stop spinning your pen. Is that what people are paying attention to? We never know, and it's scary.
All right, Jonah Pine, thank you so much for your time on this day of closing arguments here in the murder trial of Leilani Simon. That's a wrap for us here at the Chatham County Courthouse. I'll send it back to you in the studio, Don.
All right, thanks so much, Haley. And don't forget, you can go back and look at all the testimony from the witnesses in this trial on WTOC.com. We've set up a playlist for each day of the trial. Aside from jury selection, just look for the Quentin Simon case page. And we'll be right back.